when it came to, all of the talk that he was hostile to Latinos in 2016. And he would tell you that he's not. He just did not like illegal immigration. How that's viewed in the Latino community is up for conjecture, but he certainly in the polling is showing that he is gaining support in that community. And some would have thought that unthinkable 4 years ago. The president started his day in Las Vegas. His own out to McCarran Airport, took off at about 10 o'clock local time there. It was 7 o'clock in Vegas, 10 o'clock Eastern time, and then headed to California. It was a very interesting briefing in California. He got briefed on the wildfires. And as I pointed out, there was a little bit of an interesting exchange with some of the people on that panel about what's responsible for the fires in California. The president falls on that subject, that it's about mismanagement of the forests. Here's the president. Others said it's climate change. President Trump descending the stairs. He'll be greeted by Governor Doug Ducey. The fist pump, and the president continuing what has been quite a day already, and he will not arrive back at the White House until 11:30 tonight on the South Lawn of Marine One. That'll be 11. Salute, and should greet the governor there with the mask on. This is kind of typical. The people who greet the president have to wear the masks. The president chooses not to. For a long time, Doug Ducey kind of kept arm's length on President Trump. They've certainly gotten closer as time's gone on. COVID has certainly drawn them closer. The governor has been to the White House to talk to the president about the handling in Arizona. The president seems to feel that Arizona is kind of a model of how to do it, how to balance health concerns with keeping the economy open. And as you know, even at the height of this, 20% of people were not working in Arizona, but the rest of Arizona was working still. A model that should be replicated in other parts of the country that could handle it, where you didn't have severe, dire outbreaks as you had in New York, New Jersey. Let's listen into the president.
I want to say welcome back to Arizona. This is a great way to kick off Hispanic Heritage Month. A lot of good things happening in our state, and we're grateful for your support of us during COVID-19, the personal protective equipment, the surge testing, the Maryville, Phoenix, and of course USMCA's allowed us to navigate through this with one of the best economies, save the pandemic, with our #1 trade partner, Mexico.
Well, you know, Doug did a great job in Arizona, where the number went down. He was tough, he was strong, and he did the right thing, and the numbers went down. We had a big victory just now in Pennsylvania. I don't know if you heard about it. They were ordered to open it up, a federal judge, and open it up and let the people get back to work. And that's what you've done, and you've done a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And we're going to see you over at the
Looking forward to it.
Spanish Heritage, really, I guess, is what the name is. There's nothing better. We just had some great polls with the Hispanic vote, and very honored by it. We're very honored by those polls. So we'll see you over there. Thank you. Thank you.
What's the message to Arizona voters that are Hispanic?
We are working with your governor. He's a great governor, and we're, I think, doing a really good job for Hispanics, for the Latinos. We're doing a fantastic job. Is represented in the polling numbers that we're getting, because they haven't really seen numbers like that for a long time. So we're very, very honored by it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, President Trump will hit the motorcade heading out to Arizona Grand Resort and Spa. He is running a little late. The president kind of is a punctuality guy, but on this particular trip, he's running a little late. I went a little late in California. He was, as you know, in Sacramento, McClellan Airport and McClellan Park. to talk to them about the wildfires. Today, it's going to be Latinos for Trump. Keep in mind that Hispanic voters are projected to make up about 10.6% of the vote nationally. This is an important voting bloc. And in Arizona, that number could be nearly 25% this year. The president, a quick wave at Sky Harbor, about a 15 to 20 minute drive out to Arizona Grand Resort. We will have this all covered for you. The president's trip, his 5th to Arizona this year. If you needed any more evidence that Arizona is a key battleground state, aside from the commercials you see on every commercial break that could even be driving you crazy, the president's time spent in Arizona is a telltale sign that Arizona is a key state on the electoral map as he tries to win re-election. We'll be back with all the day's news, full coverage of the president's visit at 4 o'clock. For now, John Hook, Fox 10 News.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching News Now from Fox. Pilar Arias here with you. We're taking a live look at the beast, heading on over to the Arizona Grand Resort. Pretty much right there in Tempe, very close to Albuquerque, right off the I-10, very close to Arizona Mills Mall. If you're wondering, hey, how does Pilar know all this stuff? I am a Phoenix native, born and raised right here in the Valley. Grew up in Mesa. And so the Arizona Grand Resort is definitely a destination that a lot of people, locals and tourists alike, like to go spend some time at. I hear there's a really big water park there. I've never been. But you can definitely see the downtown Phoenix skyline there in the distance. You've got Chase Field. You've got the Chase Tower. A bunch of the hotels in the area as well. Live look from Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. We already do have the live picture of the location where President Trump will be speaking. We'll have it for you in full right here. Hope you all are having a great day, a very, very happy Monday. While we wait for President Trump's live remarks here in the Valley, I'm going to show you Vice President Mike Pence. I believe I know where he's at, but I just want to verify here really quickly before I take you there. Vice President Mike Pence is actually in Belgrade, Montana right now. Campaign mode in full swing for everybody right now, Democrats and Republicans alike. Hopefully we'll have this live picture of Air Force One for just a bit. Meanwhile, though, we're going to head on out to the state of Montana.
So to clear the air, the Crow don't listen. The Crow do not ask for handouts. The Crow asks this lineup to help, which in the last 4 years, President Trump had endorsed and amended, executed the Terra Act, which enabled the Crow tribe into permitting its own mineral resources. That's been a long time coming. Now it's just up to the tribe to walk through that door, as well as Vice President Pence telling the Crow the war on coal is over. Senator Daines working with us in law enforcement, pro-government, to say, hey, can you give us some funds to run law enforcement? Crow Tribe says, please step out of the way. Let us run our own law enforcement. In Congress, Gianforte, we testified before him during various natural resources testimonies and such, which not only helped the Crow tribe, but helped many nations in general, because there are over 500 tribes in the United States. And without that type of leadership that you have before you, why change horses midstream? So at this time, again, I thank you all for the opportunity. Go Trump. Go Pence. Gaines, Rosendale, Gianforte.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Great job. Great job. Thank you so much. Go on. Go on.
I have to go to my podium here. That's where I go here. So, but we do this to protect the vice president as well as the president in these situations. But I'll tell you what, it is such an honor. I think here's a kid who went to Longfellow School, Bozeman High School, and a Montana State Bobcat. And I, Vice President of the United States of America. Steve Daines, everybody. Well, hello, Montana. Senator Daines, the Superman, Congressman Gianforte, members of the Montana State Legislature, Chairman A.J. Not Afraid Jr. and the Crow Nation. My fellow Montana Republicans, it is great to be back in Big Sky Country. But I'm here because Montana and America need 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. And I'll tell you, on the president's behalf, we couldn't be more grateful to receive the endorsement for more years in the West. Thank you, Chairman A.J. Not Afraid Jr. Thank you to the Crow Nation for that honor, for our whole team. You know, before I begin, I know I speak for everyone in this country when I express our support and prayers for all of those affected by the wildfires that are impacting the West. You can see it in the sky here in Montana. My daughter lives in California. She's married to a Navy pilot who's currently deployed, and they're watching it very closely. And I just want to say to all of those impacted by the wildfires, all of those in the path of Hurricane Sally, that we're with you. President Trump approved a major disaster declaration for the state of California in less than 24 hours. He was on the ground today in that state, met with the governor, emergency officials, including the National Guard and courageous firefighters. FEMA is on the scene in the Gulf. FEMA is on the scene in the West, and to all in harm's way, we encourage you, listen to your local authorities until we're bigger and better than ever before. Okay? But thank you all for coming out. I'm here because I stand with President Donald Trump. And I'm here because President Trump and I need 6 more years of Steve Daines in the United States Senate. Steve had to come a long way from his house to come to this rally. You can actually see his house from here. But I got to tell you, he's come a long way in public life. And public here that Steve Daines is a Montanan through and through. He's a strong conservative voice in Washington, D.C. I served with him in the House of Representatives, and I can tell you, he's a man of faith, and he's a fighter for everything that makes Montana great. He is. He's a 5th-generation son of Montana. And I can tell you firsthand, he has fought alongside President Donald Trump and I every step of the way, fighting for good paying jobs, improving Montana's energy resources, protecting Montana's great natural heritage. He has delivered for Montana's veterans and Montana's tribes, and America needs 6 more years of Senator Steve Daines in the Senate. Would you all get on your feet and show Senator Steve Daines how much we appreciate this man of integrity and principle? Thank you, Steve. And while you're reelecting this president for 4 more years and that senator for 6 more years, how about we elect Greg Gianforte as the next governor of the great state of Montana? And then let's send Matt Rosendale to the United States Congress in a new Republican majority. I'm telling you what, we're all grateful for your support on this beautiful day. We are 50 days from a great victory for the people of Montana and the people of America. You know, 4 years ago, a movement was born. A movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life. Here in Montana, you believe we could be strong again. You believe we could be prosperous again. You said yes to President Donald Trump in 2016, and I know Montana's going to say yes to Donald Trump 2020. The road to victory runs right through Big Sky country. I mean, just look how far we've come. Look how far we've come with these great partners in the House and Senate representing this state. I mean, 4 years ago, when the president and I arrived at the White House, we inherited a military that had been hollowed out by devastating budget cuts, an economy that was struggling to break out of the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression. Terrorism was on the rise around the world. And we witnessed a steady assault on our most cherished values and ideals. But in 3 short years, what a difference Montana's decision made. Under President of your congressman, we rebuilt our military. We restored the arsenal of democracy. And we're once again giving our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard and Space Force the resources they need to defend this nation. You know, as the proud father of a United States Marine, and I have, as I mentioned, an unworthy son-in-law in the United States Navy, I couldn't be more proud to serve alongside a president who cares so deeply about the men and women of our armed forces and their families and our veterans. It's the truth. I mean, when we took office, you remember the scandals at the VA. People were literally dying, waiting to get an appointment at the president. VA accountability. We've literally removed thousands of VA employees that weren't serving our veterans the way they need. And Veterans Choice is available now for every veteran in America. You know, I bet there's a lot of veterans with us today. So if you're able, would you mind just standing up and letting us thank you one more time for serving our country? Thank you. Thank you for your service. So we rebuilt our military. We've stood with our armed forces and our veterans. And under this president's leadership in our first 3 years, we revived this economy. With the support of Senator Daines and our allies in the Congress, we cut taxes across the board for working families, small businesses, farmers, and ranchers. We rolled back federal red tape. We unleashed American energy, fought long and unwavering support of Senator Steve Daines. This president saw more than 200 conservatives confirmed to our federal courts at every level, including Justice Neil Gorsuch and Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And I can tell you, Steve will back me up on this. These are all men and women that will stand by all the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution, like the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, and the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. And all along the way, I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to a president who stood without apology for the sanctity of human life. It's true. So we've been keeping our promises when it comes to national security, when it comes to prosperity, when it comes to our highest ideals. We've also been making a little bit of history. Just last month, you know, the American people know America is home to the best national parks in the world. When our kids were growing up, we'd pack them in the minivan and we'd just drive to all points on the map. That's how we came out west for the first time, to enjoy the natural beauty of this nation. But the truth is, under the last administration, we saw a backlog of maintenance that surmounted the tens of millions of dollars. Our national parks were falling into disrepair. For all their talk about the environment, we saw projects left aside and ignored. Literally $20 billion of work. But the vision of President Donald Trump and the leadership of Senator Steve Daines, those days are over. It was just a little while back, the president signed the single largest investment in America's national parks and public lands in the history of this country. Thanks to Senator Steve Daines, the Great American Outdoors Act is now the law of the land. Thank you, Senator. I think you could get on your feet and show how much you appreciate that. We're a stone's throw from Yellowstone. Thank you, Steve. Now, literally investing $9.5 billion just over the next 5 years alone to preserve America's natural blessings from sea to shining sea for generations to come. The bonus, it's projected to create about 110,000 infrastructure jobs. It's a win for Montana. We're reviving our national parks and we're putting Americans back to work. Wow. So I want to thank Senator Daines. I want to thank Congressman Gianforte for his leadership, past, present, and future. So as I said, this president stood for our security, our prosperity, our liberties, and our vast natural resources. And since day one of this administration, President Donald Trump has stood with the men and women of law enforcement, and we will stand with them for 4 more years. You know, we're joined today, as the senator said, by some distinguished members of law enforcement. And President Trump and I know law enforcement every day are some of the best people in this country. They put their lives on the line every day. Every day, when they strap on a sidearm, they count our lives more important than their own. And they deserve the respect of every American every day. Would you mind showing these law enforcement officers just how much we appreciate them and their families and all they do to protect and serve Montana every day. But as we celebrate the presence of these courageous sheriffs and many that are around with us today, it breaks my heart to think this past weekend, we saw another attack on heroes in uniform. I'm sure you've heard about it. 2 Los Angeles sheriff's deputies were literally shot in cold blood as they sat on patrol in their cars. You know, this president has stood with the men and women of law enforcement because we understand the risks that they take. One of those sheriff's deputies, we're told, is the mother of a 6-year-old. The other is just 24 years old. Both had only worn the badge for about a year. They were rushed to the hospital. And the media reported when they got there were actually protesters chanting outside the hospital, "We hope you die." Now, I have to tell you, I'm relieved beyond words with the news that both sheriff deputies are in stable condition and they're on the road to recovery. And they're going to remain in our hearts and our prayers. But I have to tell you, the slandering of those who put on the uniform every day and these outright attacks on those who courageously stand on the thin blue line must stop, and they must stop now. Now, President Trump and I will always support the right of Americans to peaceful protest. It's enshrined in the Constitution. Protest. Burning businesses is not free speech. Attacks on innocent civilians or police officers have no place in our society, and those who do these things will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And under this president, we've been leaning in. In our first 3 years, we funded, with the support of your senator and congressman, we supported some 4,000 more police officers through the Katt'z program on the streets. And with the rise in violence, because we got a lot more work to do. I mean, think about it. 4 more years means more jobs. 4 more years means more support for our troops and law enforcement. And it's going to take at least 4 more years to drain that swamp. So we got 50 days to go, Montana. It's on. And I'm here to tell you, I've been at his side just about every day for the last 4 years. You know, before he called me up and asked me to join this ticket, we didn't know each other hardly at all. I'd met him twice. And frankly, we've gotten to know each other very well, become very close friends. Now, some people think we're a little bit different. But I got to tell you, I'm there when the cameras are off, when nobody's around. And I promise you, President Donald Trump has gotten up every day the last 3.5 years to fight for you. Now it's our turn to fight for him. He's never stopped fighting to keep the promises he made to the people of Montana. And now it's our turn. It's on, Montana. We got to get it done. I said the road to victory goes straight through Big Sky country, and it does. You all saw the leadership of this president and his vision early on. You talked to your neighbors and friends. You delivered that to tell you right after sure that we send President Trump back to the White House for 4 more years. We got to make sure that we keep a Republican majority in the United States Senate, and we send Steve Daines back to the Senate for 6 more years. So you got to talk to your neighbors and friends. I usually say when I'm out in the Midwest, just talk over the backyard fence, but that's a little farther out here. But at work or at worship, just find time to talk to people. Talk to them. Say, you know, I was over at that great ranch. I ran into Mike the other day and said he got up there and talked for like 45 minutes. And he was just summarizing everything that we've done for this country and everything that we can still do with 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. But I want you to tell them what we've done, that decision Montana made. But I want you to talk to him about this senator. I want to talk to him about a great new governor and a new voice in the Congress of the United States. Because, you know, I really believe what happened in 2016 in this state and all across the country proved a point that the most powerful media in America is not your big newspapers. It's not your networks. It's not your cable TV. It's not even your social media. I think the most powerful media in America is now and always will be word of mouth. It's when somebody who knows you and respects you hears from you about a decision that's important for them and their family, for the state, and for the nation. So I encourage you to go out. And when you go out, have faith. Have faith in our countrymen. You know, every time the American people are given a clear choice between more freedom and less freedom, the American people choose more freedom every single time. So go out and tell your neighbors and friends that freedom is on the ballot. And finally, have that other kind of faith as well. You know, I've traveled all across this country, and sweetest words I ever hear, and I heard it in Wisconsin today, and I've heard it even here today. When people walk up to us and will reach out and say, I'm praying for you. I mean, this is a nation of faith. So I can just tell all of you that if you're inclined to bow the head and bend the knee sometime in the next 50 days, I encourage you to do that too. But on this one, I think I speak for Steve and Greg and Matt. I'm not so much even on this one asking for you to pray for a candidate or a cause or an outcome. In these divided times across this nation, I just encourage you to pray for America. Pray for all the American people. These ancient words that Americans have clung to in much more challenging times than we could possibly imagine. In times like when Lewis and Clark first came across those, what they called terrible mountains. Challenges and hardships that Americans have faced. So many times in so many generations, they've faced them with faith in the words that if his people who are called by his name will humble themselves and pray, that he'll do like he's always done through that long and storied history of this great frontier. He'll hear from heaven and he'll heal this land, this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So pray for America. It'll make a difference. So thank you for the wonderful, warm welcome today. It really is great to be back in Big Sky country. I just wish I had time for another ride, Steve. I really do. But I'll be back. I promise you. Before I leave, let me say on behalf of my little family and I, just thank you for the privilege of serving as your vice president over my life, and I want to be your vice president for 4 more years. And I'm absolutely confident that if all of us do all that we need to do between now and November 3rd, if you let your voice be heard with your continued support and your prayers, we're going to continue this great American comeback. We're going to make Montana and America safer than ever before. We're going to make Montana and America more prosperous than you could possibly imagine. And with President Donald Trump in the White House for 4 more years, with Matt Rosendale in a new Republican majority in the House of Representatives, with Greg Gianforte in the governor's office in Montana, and with Senator Steve Daines back in the United States Senate, and America great again. Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless America.
All right, everybody, that's Vice President Mike Pence wrapping up in Montana. Taking a live look now, President Donald Trump should be arriving any moment here at the Arizona Grand Resort to participate in a roundtable involving Latinos for Trump. So that should be getting underway here in just moments. As soon as it does, we will bring it to you live here on News Now from Fox. Again, my name is Pilar Arias. I hope you are having a great day. I'm going to listen in for just a bit here myself and see if the National Weather Service is discussing the tropics. It appears that we've got Sally headed straight for Louisiana, and they are just bracing and hunkering down and preparing to see their second major. I'm going to listen in really quickly here, see if he's actually saying anything. If he is, we'll take you there. He doesn't look like he's talking, but it's a different world now that everybody is wearing masks. And then if he is, we will take him live. And if he's not, that's A-okay. We've got other stuff to bring you here on News Now from Fox as well. But again, happy Monday, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, still within the cone. That's why we focus so much on this cone. And you think about, where that center could be. It will, it'll wobble around a little bit there, and we've been seeing that. We've seen the center reform a little bit, and when the center reforms, we had one center reform just to the north, and what that does is it can shift the forecast when we look downstream, and that's what's happened. So you get a little bit to the right, but at the same time, even though we look at a forecast over the waters, maybe even a landfall over in Alabama or Mississippi, we're still talking about that rainfall for them. But storm surge is still an issue. I mean, I was listening to the broadcast before coming on here. You're still seeing some of these water rises. So that's still going to be an issue because the storm's so slow. So it's just more time to push some of that water in. Still got to watch this one real close. Oh, absolutely. So you look at this slow movement. So it just takes that much longer to be able to push the water in there. So that's one of the big issues. But also the rain, the great to small makes such a big difference. But with the storm surge, I mean, that's the big issue with these slow moving storms. Let's go over, I think this is a good one to show. I mean, you start looking at Pascagoula areas on the Mississippi coast. You get winds so long, it's just not just on the coast. There's time to push that water well inland. So some of these places that normally drains the rain can actually see storm surge go well inland, and that could be a dangerous situation.
All right, everybody. So these little downtimes here, he's actually just listening to questions and responding as best as he can. But it's not just Louisiana, it's the Gulf Coast. You can see there's mandatory evacuations in Louisiana and Mississippi preparing for Sally. Taking aim at the region. The U.S. National Hurricane Center in Miami said midday today that hurricane hunters have found that Sally has, quote unquote, rapidly strengthened to a hurricane. Sally is located about 125 miles east-southeast of the mouth of the Mississippi River, moving west-northwest at 7 miles per hour with maximum. This underwent a 20-mile-per-hour increase in wind speed from 11 a.m. to noon advisory. So we're keeping a very close eye on the Gulf of Mexico. Going to continue to listen in here. We really appreciate all of their updates.
Okay.
All right, everyone. I think he's on standby to provide an update there. So we're going to take you to back out here at the venue in Phoenix, Arizona, the Arizona Grand Resort, where President Donald Trump will be in just moments. We will show it to you in full right here on News Now. But meanwhile, I am going to double box for you, take you out to the state of Kentucky, where they had a coronavirus update not too long ago.
Today, we're highlighting the hard work of our local governments by announcing more CARES Act funding, reimbursements to them. Today, I'm excited to announce final approval of over $3.8 million to 12 local governments in northern Kentucky. These are for Henry County, Crestview Hills, Crittenden, Dry Ridge, Ellesmere, Falmouth, Fort Wright, LaGrange, Lakeside Park, Maysville, Newport, and Southgate. The funding will be used to reimburse payroll expenses for public safety officials, PPE, cleaning and sanitizing supplies, teleworking to combat COVID-19. What this helps us do is make sure that the budgets of our local governments can be as healthy as possible, that they can be as whole as they can after battling COVID-19, and as we move into the next phase of our fight against this virus, ensure that they are there with us with the ability to push hard on a local level. Since the application was released, we've had approximately 300 applications. We've approved more than $106 million in reimbursements. Local governments need to apply if they haven't. We need to make sure that we get everybody those reimbursements, but another $3.8 million that has gone out the door. All right, back to the Fast Four. The second piece, PPE. So earlier today, we had an exciting field trip to our public health, which also kind of looks like Steven Stack's garage. This is a huge facility where by the end of this month, we are now going to have completed our surge supply for 120 days worth of PPE should we see, and we will likely see, another spike in the virus. This is on top of our health care facilities having a 14-day supply. It is aimed at making sure that I never have to stand in front of you again and say we are worried that our healthcare workers will have to walk into a COVID wing without the protection they need and they deserve. We're going to talk about exciting testing milestone here in a minute. But the PPE stockpile, we now have our ability to provide it to our facilities. The fact that we've emptied this warehouse twice, hospices, nursing homes, and long-term care facilities, and poll workers, and those that have needed it, EMTs, and now have this 120-day supply almost complete. It's really exciting. It is a true Kentucky story. 2 million masks donated today by Ford, more than 1 million previously donated by Toyota, but it was even people who filled up their car with 30 KN95s and gloves and drove it to our state police posts and sent it up here. Thank you, Kentucky. I got to tell you, just being there today gave me so much hope. And you'd think I wouldn't necessarily need to go to a place like this to have hope in the middle of this, but you see it and it just shows our goodness as people. All right, the next on the Fast Four is voting. Remember, October 6th will be the last day to request your absentee ballot if you're worried about COVID. Make sure you go to govoteky.com to request it. I believe they're being printed right now, which means line and request it. It is a safe way to vote. Just make sure you get it done, you turn it around, and you mail it back in very quickly. Again, govoteky.com to request your absentee ballot. If you don't vote by absentee, please vote in that 3-week early period. Choose a different time to make sure that we can spread people out and not have that density. It's never been easier to vote, ever in what most people view as a big election. Make sure your voice is heard. Let's set a record. I mean, we've already shown how good we are in so many ways as Kentuckians. Don't we believe in the bedrock principle of voting? So get out there and vote only once, but get out there and vote in one of these ways. All right, finally, Mask Up KY. I'm hoping that by the end of this week, we'll announce kind of a new fun thing we'll do each day for those that are on social media, showing the right things, showing how they mask up. Want to show just a couple of them today. All right. This is pretty funny because I live today.
All right, everybody, we have President Donald Trump right here in Phoenix, Arizona. Let's listen in.
Very much. Let's have a good time. Let's have a good time. Well, I want to thank you. I know this is supposed to be, the fake news. I said that this is supposed to be a roundtable, but it looks like a rally. But it is a rally because we love each other. No, it is a roundtable, and we're here to really listen. We're here to discuss the Latinos and the Hispanic Americans. And I want to say you have a great governor. He's been fantastic. Thank you. I love you too. And we're really doing well. The country is doing numbers that like we've never. You will see next year is going to be. You had your greatest year ever, Doug. Last year, the best year you ever had. Then we had to close and save millions by doing it. We saved millions of lives, and then we restarted. And now we've set all kinds of records, and we're setting records. And I think next year you're going to have a fantastic year. It's going to be great. We're cutting taxes even further, and we're going to have big growth. A lot of good things are happening. But I'm thrilled to be back in Arizona with the. By the way, I just looked at how's Albert? Is he good? Huh? Good guy. He's a good guy. Good job, Artie. So it's really great to be back. This is good. This is good. This is what the polls are all saying too. As a Republican, Republicans don't do as well as perhaps they should, and probably some shouldn't do very well. But the polls came out, and we're leading Sleepy Joe by a lot. So it's a great honor to be here. But we're here to discuss my administration's unwavering devotion to Hispanic American communities. Hispanic Americans embody the American dream, and they are great business people like this guy right here. They're great business people. Great business people. I know that because I've had to compete with them. They're not easy to compete with. I want to say that. Hispanic Americans strengthen our nation beyond description. You protect our nation as brave members of the military and as members of law enforcement, great members of law enforcement. You uplift the communities and promote our shared values of faith and family, community, hard work, and patriotism. It's really an amazing, you're an amazing group, and I'm never letting you down. You'll never let you down. So we're glad to be joined by your fantastic Governor, Doug Ducey. He's done a fantastic job. Thank you. He's done a great job. Thank you. He really has. It's been incredible. So, and thank you, Doug.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it
much, Mr. President.
Also, thanks to Arizona Republican Party Chairwoman Kelly Ward. Great job, Kelly. How are we doing, Kelly, by the way? Okay. Thanks, Kelly. Arizona State Representative TJ Shope. Thank you very much. Thanks, TJ. Arizona Corporation Commissioner Leah Marquez Peterson. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sergeant Jimmy Chavez of the National Troopers Coalition. Sergeant, thank you. And we have the law enforcement from all over the country. We just got Florida, all the sheriffs, all the law enforcement, Ohio, Texas. We got New York's finest. They said they've never endorsed before, but they're endorsing this year. That took a little courage too, because they're in very unfriendly territory politically. But New York did, and we just got Chicago. Can you believe that? With that wonderful mayor. We also have a man that I have a lot of respect. I like baseball. I've always liked baseball, and he's done a fantastic job. Artie Moreno, the owner of the Los Angeles Angels, done a fantastic job. How is Albert Pujols doing? Good? Because I think he's great, huh? Good. And you have Mike Trout. So is he as good as they say? They say he's the best player. He said he's better. He's better, right? But they say he's the best player in baseball, right? That's great. That's very good. Thanks, Artie. Congratulations on your success, too. Great job. Also with us are two wonderful Arizona Republican nominees for Congress, Tiffany Shedd and Brandon Martin. Thanks, Tiffany. Good luck. Good luck. Thank you, Brandon. And you have my complete endorsement. You know that. Complete and total, as I say. Complete and total. Okay? And we'll be out working with you. We'll be helping you a lot. I hear you doing, both of you are doing really well. Very important. And Doug is working hard on that. Thank you very much. Joe Biden spent 47 years selling out the Hispanic American community, sending your jobs to China, raising your taxes, surging regulations. I don't know. It doesn't sound too good to me. It's coming up once every 3-4 days. I've been in every state. I've been in so many states the last few days. Yeah, well, you need a lot of energy to do this job properly. You can't be sitting in your basement for 4 days and come out. No, and then he comes out. And I like Delaware. I think Delaware is a good place, but you got to leave it on occasion. You know, I mean, it comes out. And remember, he didn't, you know, they say that his home state is Pennsylvania. No. He left Pennsylvania when he was young. It's not his fault. His father left, okay? And his mother, they left Pennsylvania when he was very young. And we just had a great ruling. Doug and I were talking just literally minutes ago. A federal judge, a very prominent, a very respected federal judge came out and ruled that they can't shut the state down any longer. It's too much. He said it was unconstitutional. And it was a great thing. And we hope that's going to happen in North Carolina. I hope it's going to happen in Michigan, too, because it's just totally shut down. Well, you know what's going to happen. On November 4th, they'll open up everything. They're just doing it. On November 4th, they'll announce everything's open now. You know, we were only kidding. The fact is that November 4th, you're going to see it's going to all open up. It's going to all open up. It's politics. So if you know, and as Hispanic Americans, you know better than anybody, we implemented historic tax cuts and regulation cuts, the biggest in the history of our country. And we built opportunity zones that have really benefited your state and a lot of other states. And it's been great for everybody, really, African Americans. And if you look at the African American, it's what they've done and how that's benefited them. I was helped by Tim Scott of South Carolina, and he's a fantastic senator. And he came in the idea of the opportunity zone, but for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, and really everybody, it's been a tremendous success. Before the China virus came in, we achieved the lowest Hispanic American unemployment rate ever recorded, ever. Not even close. Over 600,000 Hispanic Americans were lifted out of poverty in that short period of time. That's a record. Homeowners reached an all-time high, and that includes Artie's home, okay? That includes the home. Okay, that must be a nice home. I want to see that home. But it's the highest home ownership ever in the history of our country.
That's Dennis Ross.
And we built the greatest economy in history, and now we're doing it again. So it's called Make America Great Again. And I say, Make America Great Again and again. To do it again and again. And we added, as you probably heard, we added 3.3 million jobs for Hispanic Americans in the last 4 months. That's a record. So we're coming back very, very strong. I call it the Super V. In July, I launched the White House Hispanic Prosperity Initiative to improve access to education and economic development and opportunity for all Hispanic Americans. It's been a very big success. We have great people on the board. And we have that Biden would, as you know, terminate this recovery because if a doctor said, let's shut it down, we have all these records, we have retail sales records, everything. He said he'd shut it down, can't shut it down. Peaceful protesters, have you seen his peaceful protesters? These are not Hispanic American small businesses, stores, shops, and they rip them down and they call it peaceful protesting. You see some of these reporters on television, they're saying, yes, this has been a peaceful protest. And over his shoulder, you know, it's a pretty famous clip. The entire city is burning down. And these are all Democrat mayors, super liberal usually, but Democrat mayors and governors. Republicans are doing very well. Republican cities and states are doing incredibly well. We're at records. We have been at records. We will be at records. And we don't have anything like this. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. And we've sent the National Guard into Minneapolis, and we ended it after a week and a half. They should have called it sooner. We would solve the problem in Portland in, I say, less than a half an hour. It would be solved. But they don't want to call us in. They don't want to call us in. And every place we've gone, we solve it immediately. We just, Seattle is an example. They took over a piece of the city. And we said, what are you doing? And we complained. We said, it's okay. We have to go in because we're supposed to wait. We're going in tomorrow. And we informed them we're going in. As soon as we did that, they had people go in and these wise guys gave up. The so-called protesters, they gave up. They're anarchists. They're not protesters. So you see what happens with the anti-police rhetoric from that whole group of Democrats and their supporters. They're endangering our law enforcement. We love our law enforcement. Many of the law enforcement. Many of the law enforcement are Hispanic Americans, as you know. Biden is not a strong person, never was a strong person. In prime time, he wasn't any good, let's face it. And this is not prime time for him. This is not prime time. But he'll surrender your entire country to the radical left. And that's all they're doing is using him. He has no clue. So we will take this to a whole different level. What we're doing is taking it to a whole different level. We don't want to have a socialist country. We don't want to have, some of you came from parts of the world where it's socialist or worse. You know, it's called the C word, right? The C word. Because I think in many cases, these people are talking even beyond socialism. And we're not going to let really be be ruled by the mob. We're going to do it. We're going to do it properly. We're going to do it the way we're doing it. And again, remember, the top 10 are all Democrat. And then you go into the top 25 and you take a look at that. It's the same thing. It's all a Democrat problem, whether it's New York, where crime is through the roof. It's gone up in some cases 150 to 300%, not even recognizable. Or Chicago. You take a look at Chicago, what's happening. They had numbers that were just absolutely horrible. And we're hearing, I don't even want to mention it, but so many people shot, so many people killed. Nobody's ever heard of this. This is a Democrat runs the city. These are Democrats, and they have no clue. They have no cash bail. They get rid of bail. They get rid of all of the things that you need. The police are afraid to do anything. They don't want to lose their pensions. They don't want to lose their life. They don't want to lose their family and their job and everything else that comes with it. And we have to give our great law enforcement what they deserve. And if they don't do that, they can never do their job properly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And just in closing up, and I just say a few words more because it's so important to me, and your community is so important to me. But many Hispanic Americans came here to pursue the American dream, right? You came, we all want the American, I want the American dream. We all want the American dream. This is, if you look at what they're asking for, it's like the American nightmare or whatever you want to call it. But we want the American dream, having left countries that did not have safe streets, many of you, or your family, very, very, very bad, a lot of problems. And if we let this go on, you'd have that. And, I often say, we're not going to be another Venezuela. We love the people of Venezuela. We have tremendous support in Miami from Venezuelans and Cubans. We're not going to let that happen to our country. Nobody wants it. And you know who wants it least is Hispanic Americans. They want to see it less than anybody because they know about it more than anybody. And so we're not going to let that happen. Biden wants to take away your police. He wants to, I wouldn't say defund in his case, but I will tell you some of his compatriots want to defund your police. Let's face it. They want to defund your police. They want to take it away. I don't know who's going to do the job when they call up at night. You saw the commercial where you call up and they say, murder, I'm sorry, we won't be here for 24 hours. And then they say, I'm sorry, rape, we won't be here for about a week. We'll call you back in a week. And this is what you'll end up with. We can't do it. We'll let them do what they're good at. Another thing I think that's so important is that we're defending religious liberty, and Joe Biden will totally eliminate religious liberty. He's going to take away your Second Amendment because he's not going to be what I have put up with in the last 4 years to defend your Second Amendment. But you have to have your Second Amendment, and they're going to at least obliterate it. They're going to at least obliterate it. They're going to abolish school choice. They're going to abolish charter schools, and we're going to put charter schools all over wherever we can. We have so many people doing so well, and school choice. And we've been working very hard on school choice, and we'll get it very much achieved like we have. Nobody's done as much as we've done in 3.5 years. Nobody know it before. I say this, that I've achieved more for Hispanic Americans in 47 months than Joe Biden has achieved in 47 years. They don't call him Sleepy Joe for nothing, okay? But a vote for Republicans this November is a vote for the American dream. And that's all I have to say. I just want to thank you very much. I want to thank you very much. And I look forward to hearing from some of the folks at the table and some of these people that I know I have great respect for. All of you I've heard of in one way or another. And I want to thank you all for being here. Really, it's a great honor. And Artie, it's an honor meeting you. And maybe we'll start with our governor, our great governor. And Doug, please say a few words.
Let me be, thank you. Let me be the first to welcome President Donald Trump back to the great state of Arizona. And there couldn't be a better way. There couldn't be a better way to kick off Hispanic Heritage Month. So we're thrilled to have you here, Mr. President.
Thank you. It's my honor.
I want to say thank you for your support of Arizona families throughout the crisis that we've been through, whether it was personal protective equipment, surge ventilators for our Navajo Nation, testing that we needed in places like South Phoenix and Maryvale. Whenever we needed it, your administration and you personally delivered. So we're grateful for that.
You know, Doug is very aggressive. He called me up once. He said, we really need ventilators badly. That's hard, you know, because it's like they're big, expensive, very complex, very from a tech standpoint, a high tech art, and have them, countries don't have them. And now we become the king. We're making them like you wouldn't believe. But I said, how many do you need? Could you send us 1,000? I said, 1,000? That's a lot. But we got them to you. Do we get them to you?
You got them to us.
We got them to you.
And yeah, thank you. And before this pandemic and after this pandemic, our economy has been booming in the state of Arizona. This has been the fastest growing state in the nation. Your Jobs Act and tax cut has done much to spur our economy. The negotiation of the USMCA has allowed Arizona to maximize its relationship with its #1 trading partner, Mexico. And we have now surpassed China with Canada as our #2 trading partner in Arizona.
Thank you, Doug, very much.
Thank you very much.
And the relationship with Mexico has been really good. We've gotten along very well, and they've actually been very good. We've had a real relationship. You know, NAFTA was a disaster for our country, and now we have the USMCA, which is Mexico, Canada, and it's been a great, and we're not going to lose our businesses now to Mexico and Canada. They're going to stay right here. So they have a very big economic penalty if they want to play the games of leaving. I mean, we lost 55,000 firms went down to different places, but a lot of them went to Mexico. A lot of them went to Canada. There's a very, very big disincentive to doing that. Well, I'd like to hear, as a baseball fan, I'd like to hear from Artie, because he really has done. That team's been glamorized, and it's a great team and great players, great individual players. And let me know about the team a little bit and how you're doing, and let's hear it. Come on, that's a beautiful thing to own.
Well, we're not playing that great right now. I really wanted to tell a little bit of my story because I am Mexican American. Both my parents were Mexican American. I'm the oldest of 11 children. He always was very positive about, I think his platform was, if you don't work, you don't eat. I'm a Vietnam vet. I was lucky enough when I came home to get the GI Bill and go to college. I went to the other school down in Tucson. I'm married, have 3 great children. My dad was very much a Barry Goldwater Republican. We were brought up very conservative. Just want to talk a little bit about, because I started in my life as working for someone and started with a partner, a small business. And over the years, we grew it. But everybody deserves the opportunity to grow your own business and deserves the right to be able to raise and educate their children in a safe environment. I've really been lucky to have the opportunity to benefit from this great American country. Every person has an opportunity to have a voice. It's important that it's expressed. It's very important for every Latino American to get out and vote. It's It is our right to vote and express our choice for President Trump and his leadership.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We all know where we've been. It's necessary to focus on today and the future. And it's very important to vote for President Trump. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Well, now I really like that team. I liked it before. I didn't know he was going to do that, but I tell you what, I appreciate it. And, you know, your story is an amazing story. It's a great story. Think of that. And he's one of the most respected people. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be with you. Thank you.
Go ahead. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, and allow me to join with all these folks in welcoming you back to Arizona. I'm sure that this is a much more hospitable setting than what you were in California just a little bit ago.
Yeah,
So,
but they were nice.
you know,
This is very special.
Exactly. You know, my story is as 27, I was elected to the state legislature. I represent a very fast-growing area between Phoenix and Tucson that has been in the news quite a bit with companies like Nikola Motors and Lucid Motors announcing their factories there. My family's been in the grocery business since 1952. They moved to Arizona because they failed at hog farming in Iowa, and I think you have to actually try to. But open up a business here in Arizona. Their first business went bankrupt. They pulled themselves up, got back to work, opened a new grocery store later on, because you can do that in Arizona.
That's great.
You can do that in America. To be able to have failure and to come back. And now, here I am at age 27 in the state or 35, excuse me, age 35, and
That's what I thought.
living a wonderful life. And it's something I think for a lot of the folks out right now to realize it is difficult to be a minority and Republican at times because your friends, your other members of your family, oftentimes don't understand, treat you differently, things like that, and you experience things that you probably shouldn't. But it is we are very proud people, very happy to be up here. Melissa out there, she's wearing a dress by Ivanka. She's wearing a dress by Ivanka, so you can share that. So that's good.
That's very nice.
But
Thank you.
more than anything, we 100% believe in what you're doing, and we want you to keep it up. And we know that the one way we can make sure that it keeps up is by getting out to vote and fully supporting the Trump re-election campaign, because that will also help us in Arizona be able to keep the state Senate and the state House. And we are very, very close. And we want to have a huge turnout for you. And we appreciate you coming. We love that you're here, and we hope to see you many more times.
And it is getting a lot easier to be Republican, a lot easier. We're Hispanic or anything else. We're taking in people that are, it's a beautiful thing to see what's happening with the Republican Party. And remember, it's the party of Abraham Lincoln. A lot of people forget that. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. The other side likes to try and claim him big disinformation, but they can't get away with that one. So, hey, thank you very much. It's great. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm here to share my American dream, and I want everyone to know that our dream is still alive. The American dream is still alive, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of my story. I came here to the United States when I was 11 years old. My mom worked so hard to support my siblings. When I was 22 years old, I got shot by the father of my kid. I survived horrible domestic violence. But after I got shot, after a month of getting better, I had two choices to make. One, survive out of government welfare or get a job. I chose to get a job as a janitor. Thank you. Because for so much long, for the first time I felt freedom. I felt that I needed to be free and I didn't want to be dependent on the government. So I started making $5 an hour in 1997. And I love my job so much that I worked my way up to become a supervisor manager. And then 5 years later, I end up buying my own my company, my own janitorial company. Thank you. And for me, that is looking at the American dream. a high school dropout. They didn't finish high school very well and move up the ladder. That is the real
That's great.
American dream.
Thank you very much.
That's what happens here.
That's great.
So,
Thank you very much.
so from going to work 8 hours a day, we end up working 16 hours a day for the next 5 years to pay off the big loans.
Okay.
Then my fiance, Ron Pickner, now my husband is here, put together. So after 5 years in 2005, we paid it all off. Then after that, I started feeling that I was getting more free and more free. And I'm a giver. I like to help. If God takes care of me, I take care of others. So what I do, thank you. So at that time in 2005, I had already 60 employees working for me. And one of the things that I love and do for them is help them learn English, help them buy their first car, help them get their first home. But most of the things that I enjoy the most is teaching them English and make them become US citizens. And over the course, over the course of, I would say, maybe 15 years, probably my husband and I helped more than 30. So proud of that. It's incredible.
Okay.
Then my American dream keep coming. I became a US citizen in 2008. Then I kept living my American dream, and then 2012 came. That's when Obamacare came, and I keep hearing in the news, if you have more than 50 employees, you have to cut back, or you have to do something. And I told my husband, what's going on? Why am I have to lay off people? And that's when I started getting involved more into what's going on. Why is the government telling me what to do? I work so hard for what I have. Why they have to get in my business? Why do I have to let people go? Thank you. So I started getting involved into local politics and see what they were doing, why, so they can hear my American dream and see I'm still here, I'm still alive. I want to keep listening. I'm the one that wants to get active and do something about it if there's a problem. So that's what I did, and look where it got me. Now I'm here next to the president, getting involved.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, a quick message.
Thank you very much.
Para mi
Great.
gente linda, por favor, let's protect our country. Let's protect our American dream. We're all Americans. It doesn't matter where you come from. This is our safe haven. Please, let's put President Trump again for the next 4 years. We need to save it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
My name is Gloria Badilla, and we are a small business owner. We live in Tucson, my husband and myself, and it is my honor to be sitting here at the same table
Thank
that
you.
you are,
Thank you
Mr.
very
President
much.
Trump. Thanks to you and the policies that you've been working with SBA, we were able to save our small business. Mexican immigrant and U.S. citizen now to this beautiful country that I can call my own, we have achieved our American dream. We make fresh salsa and spices made out of chiltepin peppers.
Good.
We feel so fortunate for the opportunity to have this administration be able to have our Chiltepinca products flourish. Even though we had the setback of the pandemic, we are doing okay.
Good.
And we will survive this
Good.
past. We also wanted to thank you we have seen our neighbors, our communities, even though, like I said, for this pandemic, has not set everybody back. It's been hard for some people, but we will come out at the end good. Also in Tucson, I've been very involved with one of against going to Grijalva, and it is my mission and my husband to work with him so we can get him through and get Grijalva's been in the Senate in the Congress for 17 years.
Good.
So too long, yes. So we have future Congressman Daniel Wood, and that's what we're doing in Tucson. Chiltepeka Products came out of nothing. Actually, we had saved some money to build a swimming pool in our home. And we thought, this could be something. And my husband and I thought what we do as the American Dream, as our own business, and say, well, you make good salsa, we'll make good salsa. And that's how Chiltepeka Products came out of love of cooking.
Great. That's
Thank
great
you.
job. Beautiful ceremony.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, thank you. My name is Jimmy Chavez. I'm the chairman of the National Troopers Coalition, and I'm a 30-year law enforcement veteran. Thank you. I will tell you, not only with the group that I represent, but as you alluded to earlier in your opening comments, you and your administration have shown tremendous support for law enforcement since day one. And that is something that we did not see in the previous 8 years before you took office. So yes, we thank you for that. We thank you for the support. We thank you for the dedication. We know that your Attorney General, we thank you for that. And it's exciting to be a part of this panel because I think, including the audience out here, I think that we can all agree that safer communities provide a benefit and provide economic stability. Because if you don't have a safe community, who's going to want to go out? Who's going to want to go buy things? So this whole idea of defunding the police or cutting costs on law enforcement is something that is counterproductive to what your administration wants, definitely, and what we've seen over the last 3.5 years, 4 years with the economic growth in the country. There's no doubt that many agencies across this country are seeing issues with recruitment, retention, equipment issues, technology that is ever evolving. And I think if we have ideology way to erode law enforcement, I think that's going to have a significant effect on the communities, significant effect on the citizens, and certainly a significant effect on this country. So as a law enforcement officer, again, 30-year veteran, and as one who represents law enforcement from country to country, or from coast to coast, I'm sorry, we appreciate your support, and we will be there to offer the same support back to you and your administration.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And look what happened in New York, where they cut $1 billion and they got rid of a lot of great crime fighters. And look at what happened in a short period of time.
Austin PD, LAPD, Texas DPS is actually being considered to take over Austin PD because of the drastic cuts that occurred there. So it's having some ripple effects.
Sounds good. Good governor there.
Yeah.
Good governor. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, I want to thank you very much for this opportunity. It is an honor and a privilege to be talking to you, to be part of this table. My name is Jorge Rivas. My wife and I, Betty Rivas, own we own a small business in Tucson, Sammy's Mexican Grill. And,
Has to be doing well. How's it doing?
doing very good. I want to.
Well, now it's doing
Yeah.
good, right? That's good.
Your tweets
I hear
have
it's doing
helped.
really good.
Your tweets have helped tremendously.
That's good.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Before I came to the back room, my wife told me if I sit on the back, make sure and I love him. So my wife said that she respects you and she loves you a lot. Since you announced that you will be running for president back in 2016, I told my wife, Donald Trump has what it takes to be the next president of the United States. And we decided to support you since the first day. Back when you went to, in 2016, when you went to Tucson and did a rally over there, I decided to make a sign that says Latinos support Donald Trump. Because at that moment, the media and a lot of people were saying Latinos do not like Donald Trump. But I said, that's not true. I said, they are not going to keep me quiet. I'm going to keep talking. I love you too.
Hey, your wife. Your wife.
My wife understands. She loved the president, so we're good. So after having people link our name, our personal names with our business, we got a big backlash. You know, people attacking us.
I know.
But we stay strong. The last few years, I've been very involved. You know, not only in the community, but also I'm a member of the biggest Republican club in Arizona, which is the Saddlebrook Republican Club. I know that we have some members here. And like I said, we've been very involved. Just yesterday, my wife and I organized a big car parade, a Trump parade on Highway 77 on Oakland Road in Tucson. A lot of people came over, hundreds of cars. Even some of our friends, Latino friends from Nogales, drove almost 2 hours to come to the parade. So there is a lot of support.
Good story. Great story.
Many of them, after I mentioned to them that I had the privilege to come to meet with you, they said, make sure you tell the president not only that we respect him, we love them, we'll be voting for him, but more than anything, Mr. President, having a small business and talking to hundreds and thousands of people a week, I pray for you. I'm praying for your administration.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I know that many of these people are very humble people. So, and I think that God is listening to the prayers. So you are in good hands.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
My support for you is also, more than anything, is because you show so much love for this country. I have learned to appreciate, respect, because of the opportunities and what gives to everyone that comes here the opportunity to live the American dream. One of the reasons that many of us Latinos like about you is the straightforward way of talking that you have.
You too.
I do not like when politicians try to make you hear, or they try to tell you what they think you want to hear.
Yeah.
Just tell me the way it is, it's straightforward, and that's why I think I like you so much. Many immigrants like myself, or many other people who their fathers, parents, grandparents came here 100, 200 years ago, we all came from here for similar reasons: for security, for safety, for the opportunity to own our own business, and the opportunity to raise their kids and our families in a safe, stable environment. Why we support you, and so many people support you, that people that I know, they support you as well.
But the real reason is that I tweeted out, I saw they were giving him a hard time. And I tweeted out, this is a great couple. And I looked at them, I said, look at this couple. And they were giving him a hard time. And they were trying to do a boycott because this other side is very vicious. They'll try and do boycotts. So I said, you know what? It's not very presidential, but I'm going to do a tweet for Sammy and his beautiful wife. And you never saw lines like this ever before. And that's the reason. And I'll tell you, you've been great. And I appreciate, I hear the place is doing fantastic.
It's doing very well there, Mr. President. Thank you very much. And I have a few more things to
Yeah,
mention.
go ahead.
if you don't mind. Betty, my wife, and I were being blessed with 3 excellent young boys in college.
Good.
And I feel that every kid has the need to be supported or to be loved since they are 4, 5, 6 years old. Help them in high school, helping them get through college. We're, like I said, we've been blessed. Our kids are graduating from high school and from college with honors. And I think that part of the problem that we're having nowadays, and so many people are looting, so much hate, breaking windows, stealing somebody else's property, is because the parents are doing a poor job in helping the kids. In helping the kids achieve their dreams, their goals. So if you are not there when they are very young, do not expect them to be a very good citizen when they get older.
Yeah.
So I feel that we as parents, we need to do a much better job of raising our kids, because if you're a person of either you're immigrant, you are minority, you are Hispanic or Black person, if you're not helping your kids when they're very young, do not come me that you have a sign for me to respect your sign that says Black Lives Matter. If you are being irresponsible, not helping your kids, I will suggest for you to take your sign, frame it, and put it in your house, in your living room, and look at it every day and care for your child when they're young. We need to keep the family structure together, stronger, family, dad, because for us, my wife and I work very hard in our business, 12, 14, 16 hours a day. But we always make time to support our children, make sure that, that their needs were met. We are not rich or anything like that. We make sure that they had, what they needed to succeed. And I think we are failing very miserably on that. When your opponent is not saying anything or doing out there, only promoting that destruction. So we as Latinos, we are people that care for our family, people that we call ourselves Christians. We must support someone, in this case, President Trump, to lead this country for another 4 years.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Just 2 more sentences, okay? I'll be done, almost done. I feel, Mr. President, that if we call ourselves Christians, we should really think, or maybe those people out there that consider themselves independent, to really think, what do you want your country to look like in 10 years from opportunity, or do you want to have a breakdown in society where they are not going to have the options to live the American dream? So for those reasons, I feel that it's extremely important to listen to what the other side is saying, because for the commercials that I see are all based on lies and hate. Let's lie about what President Trump is doing. Let's lie about, blaming him for COVID-19 or everything else, and they're not showing any structure or any goals or any plans or what they're going to do. Everything is based on attacking President Trump. Shame on you, Mr. Biden. And lastly, this last thing, as a good business owner, as a entrepreneur, as an American, Mr. President, I wrote a book. I finished writing a book 2 weeks ago, and I gave one of your White House staff a book to give it to you. So if you please read it, I think it's very good. It is called American Patriots. No, I'm sorry. That's not, well, it is called Modern Patriots. Why modern? Because we feel that we as Latino, we are new, well, like myself, we're a new generation, but we're full of love for this country, and we're standing up for what is right, and we're standing up for you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Beautiful.
I love you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sam. Wow. That was a good job. That was actually very good. Are you proud of him? Yeah. Thank you, Devin. Go ahead. Follow.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Moses Sanchez, and I'm a legal immigrant from Panama. My family and I came to the United States during the Reagan administration in search of that American dream. And we've been pretty good with doctorates, nurses, and entrepreneurs in our family that are contributing back to the fabric of this country. I've proudly served my country's Navy combat team for the last 24 years. Yeah. With a tour in Afghanistan in 2011. Now, for decades, our Hispanic community and persons of color have been accustomed to getting lip service from our political leaders. Promises of better schools, safe communities, and economic security. You delivered on all your promises that have improved the circumstances our communities face. Historical records in unemployment, home ownership, massive investments into opportunity zones, and an economy that lifts all boats. My daughter Shannon and company, named Known as Marketing. It's her name, Shannon, backwards.
Good.
When you came into office, we had one employee. At the beginning of this year, we had over 12 people in our office, working hard, helping other businesses increase and improve their digital footprint. Then COVID hit, and it impacted everyone. Our company was no exception. We were fortunate to receive PPP funds during the first round. Many of our clients also received PPP funds. The PPP loan helped us get through the shutdown, and many of our clients were able to stay afloat. Now, many are doing better. Not fully recovered, but better.
Go ahead.
COVID and these shutdowns have a huge impact on our economic security, mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. My Mr. President, I think it's important that my wife is an OBGYN here in Phoenix, focusing on substance use disorders in pregnancy and parenting women. She personally asked me to tell you that she really appreciates all the work you've done in addressing the often overlooked opioid crisis. Yeah. We believe long-term shutdowns have added to, and we're glad that you're doing everything you can to fight COVID and open our economies in a smart, safe, and effective way. And we're really looking forward to the continued recovery. Thank you, Mr. President.
That's very nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Beautiful. Say hello to your wife, please. That's really nice. I appreciate it. We have made a lot of strides with the opioid and the drugs, but you get set back with this. This China virus was a big setback, but now we're back to business. But we did get set back with this horrible thing that was sent. It could have been stopped. It should have been stopped. It should have been stopped. They stopped it going into their country, but not coming into our country, not coming into Europe and the rest of the world. So, but I appreciate those are beautiful words. Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, and welcome back to Arizona. My name is Leah Peterson. I serve on the Arizona Corporation Commission, so we regulate our public utilities, among other things. I'm also the past president of the Tucson Hispanic Chamber, and I've been a proud Republican since I was 18 years old. Good. Thank you. Our family has a long history of small business ownership, and that's really what resonated with me as I was growing up in Arizona. And it's really those values, those Republican values of less government, more personal responsibility that you've heard from many of the other panelists today. I went on to own my own small businesses, a chain of gas stations, convenience stores, as well as a business brokerage firm in the Tucson area also. I'm very proud, though, of leading our Tucson Hispanic Chamber, which is one of the largest Hispanic chambers in the nation with more than 1,800 members. And during that time, I worked with thousands of small businesses from Pima County, Cochise, Santa Cruz, all throughout Southern Arizona. A very big thank you for the Tax and Jobs Act. I saw firsthand, working with small businesses in Southern Arizona, the impact on their businesses, the ability to acquire additional pieces of equipment or hire new personnel, and it really had an impact. Secondly, I think the governor mentioned it also, I wanted to thank you for your leadership on the USMCA, the US-Mexico-Canada Agreement.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you.
As you're probably aware, Arizona does more than $16 billion in trade with Mexico. They're our #1 trading partner. And you often hear about a lot of the large companies and transactions, but there's so many small businesses that are dependent on that relationship. So that really meant a lot to the members of the chamber that I worked with.
Thank you.
At the Corporation Commission, I'm working hard to ensure that businesses and families are not going to be hit by the radical California energy policies that a lot of us are seeing now. We're hearing about the California rolling blackouts. We're trying to defend our state against a lot of these Green New Deal components that are coming forward. So that's something that's very important. And I know it's going to drive up the cost of energy. Good. And I got out there because we need to do all we can to really recover from this economic time. And I think the cost of energy has a big part of what's going to impact families and businesses in the future. Right. But thank you, President,
thank you very
for
much.
coming to Arizona.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much. Please. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, it's truly a privilege to be on this panel and sitting at the same table with you here today. Thank you for coming to Arizona for the 5th time. My name is Pam Kirby, and I'm a first-generation college graduate. I also serve on the Latinos for Trump Advisory Board, and I'm the first vice chair of the Arizona Republican Party. Most recently, I completed 8 years of service on my local school board, and in the spirit of lifelong learning, 3 months ago, I earned my master's in education policy.
Great.
I have a lot of responsibilities and priorities, but my passion lies with education policy, and that's what I'd like to talk with you about today. I first want to lead by thanking both you and Ivanka, who, by the way, she did a fabulous job introducing you at the convention, for the reauthorization. I want to thank you both for the reauthorization of the Perkins Career and Technical Education Grant, CTE grant. That was worth over $30 million to Arizona for more than our 200,000 CTE students. I want to thank you for your efforts to roll back federal intrusion in our classrooms. That allows our local districts to better respond to their community's needs rather than wasting valuable resources chasing down one-size-fits-all mandates from Washington, D.C. And you mentioned it earlier, I'm grateful for the opportunity zones that you have created because that encourages expansion of quality charter schools in our most underserved communities. Mr. President, Arizona is a national leader in school choice, but even so, 80% of our 1.1 million K-12 students enroll in a public district school, and almost half of them are Latino. My 8 years of service on the school board taught me that we cannot continue with the status quo if we want to be competitive in a global economy. We must stop the radical indoctrination that's happening in our classrooms. We must stop the indoctrination and instead teach our children to love our country and all she has to offer. And Mr. President, that includes standing for the American flag. We must have an education system that prioritizes the children over the adults and funds the student instead of the institution. You know, you talked about school choice earlier. There are a lot of candidates out there who say school choice for me, but not for thee. We have to reject those candidates because school choice cannot be reserved for just the few people. We need to empower all parents with the right to choose the educational systems for their children. And more importantly, we need to empower them with the means to execute against that choice. And when we have done that, we will have truly freed all students from their zip codes.
Thank you.
So, in closing, Mr. President, I want to thank you for your commitment to the American people, and more importantly, I want to thank you for your commitment to the most vulnerable of our society, our children.
Thank you. Great job. Great job. Thank you. School choice. Absolutely right. Thank you, please.
Mr. President, my name is Sergio Arellano. You can call me Serge. And I am a first-generation American. My parents are from Sonora, Mexico. They received their right to be here during the Ronald Reagan amnesty. As a ship that allowed them to do that, I enlisted into the U.S. Army on April 1st, 2001. At the age of 17. Fast forward to September 11th, which we just recently, you did a great job in remembrance, Mr. President.
Thank you.
And I find myself deployed to Ramadi, Iraq, September of 2003, and participated with the 1st and the 16th Infantry Division on the fight for Ramadi, Fallujah, Habaniya, and Al-Assad. Unfortunately, after 10 and a half years in the infantry due to combat sustained injuries, I left the military as a wounded warrior. And when I left the military, I was lost. I was homeless. I had a 3-year-old son, and now I have 4.
Good job.
But it was really hard to navigate the spectrum, to get services, to get any help whatsoever. It's a travesty what the government has done to veterans when they get out of the military. It's thanks to you and your laws and your leadership that allowed me to have choice when it came to healthcare. Not only for me, but for thousands of veterans in the state of Arizona. I'm born and raised in Tucson, Arizona, and I'm also a small business owner, entrepreneur, and I'm also a school board member. So Donald Trump's policies are music to my ears. But I just wanted to bring a couple of things from down south, from Tucson, and bring it to the table as to what the Latino community is feeling and what it's missing. And what it's missing is more of your leadership. And Latinos are conservative. They just don't know it. I'll make it really quick. I don't want to drag on too long here. But ever since you were elected, it's been easier and easier and easier to recruit Latinos from all over the state. We started doing 3-person Trump trains down in Nogales, and we've grown. I'm also on the advisory board for Latinos for Trump. And we've grown our organization here to include 3 victory offices for you, and also over 1,100 volunteers for Latinos for Trump in the past 3 months.
Great.
It is a critical time right now, and I'm going to give you just one personal tale where I had my kids in the car. We pulled over to the side of the street. We were playing Pokemon Go. And we got pulled over by a police officer. And I told everybody, relax. These are the good guys. Police officer shows up, says, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Yeah, my kids wanted to catch a Pokemon. And he says, well, you can't be parked here, but, go ahead, go on your road, go on your path. This was about a year ago. And my son says, Dad, I haven't heard in my entire life, and he's 17 now, anyone say that a police officer is a good guy in my neighborhood. This is the stuff we're facing in Southern Arizona, in Tucson, in liberal ran areas that hate police. Okay? So lastly, I want to really have my kids who are your biggest fans stand up and say hi to President Trump, guys. They are your biggest fans in the world. And they have your picture in their house.
And they're beautiful. And they're beautiful kids too.
Thank you so much, President. Really nice. And in closing, when I tweeted that President Trump was coming to Arizona for the 5th time to hear Latinos and their opinions, I had some hecklers say, I'm sure President Trump will listen to you. Here he is. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. That's a great job. That's a great job. Thank you very much. Please.
Good afternoon. We welcome new citizens who love our people and share our values. Poland Speech 2017. Immigrants enrich this country, and I want them to come in big numbers. State of the Union 2019. Mr. President, these words will resonate with me forever. Thank you so much for what you do for the Latino community, for borders, for supporting legal immigration, and for your efforts against child exploitation, and for being so successful fighting human trafficking. You heard us loud and clear, and you know that we want safer communities. My name is Monica Yelling. I was born in Bogota, Colombia. I came to this country in 1998 with a J1 work visa, just one piece of luggage, and $300. In 2005, I proudly became a citizen of this country. And right after my naturalization ceremony in Brooklyn, New York, I drove as fast as I could to the New York Board of Elections, and I registered to. I live in Port Washington, a little town on the North Shores of Long Island. My husband is here, and he's a Jewish American New Yorker from New Rochelle. Who is glowing, full of excitement, and wanted me to thank you for standing for Israel. Never ever believe in any candidate for presidency until you run for presidency. That's right. So he voted for you.
It's great. Thank you. It's really nice. Thank you very much. It's a nice looking guy too. Nice looking. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And of course, he owns a small e-commerce and investments business that even with this pandemic is still succeeding. We left New York because of high taxes, the cost of living, and as you know, the potholes. We came to Arizona because it's a prosperous state. Today, Arizona is one of the fastest growing states. We have surplus, and it is estimated that by 2022, 57 billion Latinos will have that amount of power in spending.
Right. That's right.
Thanks to your administration policies, Latino families have more money in their pockets because of the double child credit and the standard deduction, the double standard deduction. Furthermore, small and medium businesses are grateful for your tax cuts and the deregulations. Back in 2019, in September, we had the was 0.9%. And in 2018, more than 362,000 Latinos bought homes around the country. Thank you, Mr. President. 21 years ago, when I arrived alone in this country, I could have never imagined the diverse and blessings in the journey that was ahead of me. From getting a master's degree, translating everything at night at home, to becoming a chairwoman of a large insurance industry committee in the East Coast, to director of a strategic initiative, to a county board, to be appointed as one of the members of Commission of Domestic Violence, to serving my community every day, and most important, to be here today with the President of the United States of America. I can't believe it. I am a living proof of the American dream. Anything in this country is possible. And on behalf of many Latinos around the country, we want to thank you for leading this nation and for sharing your family and religious values with us. Due to the nature of my duties, I communicate and I engage with organizations, and everyone is aware that we are on the road to recovery and much faster than we expected. Again, thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity and for serving our country. We love you, President Trump.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great. Well, I just want to finish by saying my people told me this was going to take about 1/3 of the time, but after these stories started going, I wasn't leaving. I want to tell you, they are incredible stories, success stories, all success stories. You've done so well. The Hispanic community is amazing. I knew that immediately. I knew that from many years ago, long before I thought about doing this, about the Hispanic community. I dealt with them. Natural business people, great business people, great business people. You have to be very sharp when you deal with the Hispanic Americans. My Latinos, I love the Latinos, but I've always known how great you were. I mean, Artie's a great example of it, one of your great examples of it, but it's a fantastic community. I will never let you down. I will tell you, I'll never let you down. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Artie, thank you very much.
All right, everybody, that's President Donald Trump wrapping up here at the Arizona Grand Resort in Phoenix, Arizona, a Latinos for Trump Roundtable. Do not fear. News Now from Fox will continue to cover the president's travels when and if we get a live look at Air Force One at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. We will have that for you right here as well. One of the highlights of this Rami's Mexican down in the Tucson area. I believe it's Catalina to be exact. But the president tweeted about his restaurant when he was getting backlash for being a Trump supporter back in March. And he was one of the members there that spoke at the roundtable. So I have clipped that. If you happen to be watching us on the platform where you all can chat with each other, you can find it there on our page and be able to watch it, like it, share, subscribe, let your friends, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors, everybody you know about us. Right there. Again, you are watching News Now from Fox. My name is Pilar Arias. Thanks so much for being here. I'm going to take you out to California now. A little bit earlier, we had an update on the deputy shot. This was news that broke over the weekend. So I want to take a listen to that really quickly. It's about an 8-minute update, and then we'll probably head back to Kentucky for their coronavirus update from earlier today. We've also got a look at some of the wildfires going on across the country. This is a look at the Bobcat fire in Los Angeles County. Again, this is the Bobcat fire in Los Angeles County on the Gulf go as well, everyone, and that is because they are waiting, they're bracing for Hurricane Sally, the second hurricane to be traveling to the Louisiana area in a very, very short amount of time. So, all right, I'm going to get the deputy's shot news conference up for you right now on News Now from Fox. And then if any other news breaks or happens live, we will have it for you as well. But again, this is the latest from Los Angeles.
To adapt to the times. It's always going to be forever changing. And so we just have to adapt to that. So it's rough. I hear them talking about it. But the thing that I can honestly tell you, I haven't heard anybody say, well, you know what, this isn't what I signed up for, I'm quitting. Because really, at the end of the day, it's all about taking care of the community. Yes, sir.
Media, for CNN in Espanol and other Spanish-speaking media, can you tell us what's the sentiment like right now among all the thousands of deputies?
I'm sorry, I don't speak very good Spanish. No, I'll confuse everybody.
Have you seen this horrific picture of one of the deputies with blood on her face and the other deputy with his hands sort of around like a column? And if that is something that reflects both deputies, if that's an actual picture of the deputies who are injured?
I'll touch on it real quick regarding the pictures that are going around. And first off, I'll start off with, you know, I've had conversation with the family, and the family is very torn about those pictures. You know, the fact that that's out there and it's such a bloody image. But I've also assured the family that it's actually something to be proud of. The fact that they're standing, they're aware, they're taking care of each other, and they're waiting for their partners to show up and provide aid to them. But that's what deputies do, you know. And you guys, I'm hoping you guys have seen where in the unfortunate circumstances where, you know, deputies have to take deadly action, or officers throughout the United States. The second instinct is, once the threat is over, the second instinct is usually to go to the person and try to provide aid. I'm not aware of anybody in my 36 career years in this profession of anybody or coming across anybody who's ever led me to believe that they came to work and were looking to go out there and violate somebody's rights. I mean, if something goes sideways and it turns out, you know, they got themselves in a situation, that will be dealt with. But to come in and try and convince me that they come in, you know, premeditated to do this, that's going to be a hard pill for me to swallow.
Your message to the suspect who pulled the trigger against the deputies, what would you tell them?
If I had a message that I could give to that suspect, it would literally be, you know, turn yourself in. This is ridiculous. I don't know what caused you to do that. It could be something as simple as, you know, encouragement from friends or whatever. But I got to believe that even you right now are thinking that maybe you crossed that line, that even the pub testers don't agree, even the movement doesn't agree. And my best advice to you would be turn yourself in, because the bottom line is, not only are we worried about you, but society is in general is worried about you. And so that makes us continue to work. And I hate to say it, but we're going to keep looking until we find you.
What do you say to the group that came out here and was screaming things like, "We hope you die," and that sort of thing to the deputies while they're trying to collect?
Well, yeah, to the people, the group that came out here and screamed, "We hope you die," that in itself is also pathetic. Maybe not as bad as the guy that actually pulled the trigger, but it's just as bad. And you know, in the comparison in that you're making that statement because of what you think you know about law enforcement, I guess I would challenge you to show me a video, and maybe you'll change my mind, of where you ever see us standing over somebody that we had the unfortunate circumstance or situation where we had to use deadly force, and we were chanting that we hope somebody died. We do what we have to do, and we go into savior mode after that, or people would realize that this was uncalled for. And whether you support us or not, and whether you still feel there needs to be reform, you can still be out here, come out here and be cordial and hope for the best for these guys and gal that were out here on duty.
Is the family okay with the picture?
How they're doing.
I'm sorry, what was that? All I can say is they're doing well. They're doing well. They're in good spirits. I have not been in there to see them yet with COVID and all that. You know, it's already a little stressful. So I've just kind of been leaving it to the family to come and go. I'd like to get in to see them as soon as I can, but right now I've been told that they're doing really well, especially according to the injuries they received. Real quick, what I'd like to tell everybody is we have a website. Actually, it's a foundation. It's called Katt'z Cares, and we've had an outpour of people wanting, and within ALADS, the organization, we have ALADS Cares. You can get on our website, www.alads.org, and you can click on the ALADS Cares Foundation. If somebody wants to donate, you click on there, set up for PayPal. You can also mail in donations and things of that nature. There are a few websites out there. Some of them are actually legit, that have been put together by some of the partners that want to do something. But I would caution, if you want to know that's one that's fully legitimate, ALADS Cares, and any other ones, ask some questions, including asking with the department, or even you could call us at ALADS and ask if it's a legitimate website. So don't get the impression that it's only ALADS Cares. The family, but I can guarantee you that it is definitely legit and safe to go through.
Switching gears here, everyone, on News Now from Fox, and that's because Donald Trump Jr. is taking the stage in Michigan for a Make America Great Again rally. Kimberly Guilfoyle just wrapped up. She is Trump Jr.'s girlfriend, who serves as an Donald Trump senior advisor. But again, Donald Trump Jr. taking the stage right now. And I want to listen live on News Now from Fox.
You guys saw her speech, right? It was just so low key. She got her own gift from that one. It's because she loves her country like you guys do. And she's going to fight for it like you guys will. And guys, that's what we're up against right now, right? This is the first time in American history where you get into more trouble for opening your business to feed your family than you do for burning down someone else's. Right? Man, you know, I'd make the joke, but the media's here. I'd say it's great to be in the state of Alaska here, but this isn't the Biden campaign, right? It's great to be back in Michigan, and we're going to win Michigan again. Thank you, guys. Too, and that's okay, right? You look like a very handsome man, so it's good. Kimberly, is that okay? Legit. Okay. Well, guys, thank you all for being here. I was talking to my father earlier, telling him what we're doing tonight. He was just so appreciative of the enthusiasm and everything that everyone's coming out with right now. It's just awesome. You see it day in and day out. You guys trusted Donald Trump in 2016, and he delivered for you. And when you see the platform of the other side, man, it's scary. It's scary. And I mean, I get it. I mean, Michigan is a stronghold, the blue dog Democrats, working class Democrats. What does this party represent that it used to? Nothing. This is not your grandparents' Democrat. These guys want to take away your rights. You can't go to work. You can't go to church. Your kids can't go to school. If you want to loot and riot, that's okay. That's okay. You get an exemption for that, rioting. You can't make this nonsense up anymore. Okay, we can do that. You want to do this, sir? Come on up here. I'm just kidding. But guys, you have a very, very clear choice coming up in November. You have Donald Trump, who made promises like a lot of our politicians have in 2016 and kept them, or you have Joe Biden, or Kamala Harris, really, who has been making promises to you for half a century in D.C. If Joe Biden could have fixed it by now, he would have. Why would you wait half a century to get going, Joe? But, oh, it's very sleepy. Very sleepy, Joe. But guys, no, hey, how about a USA? Imagine doing that at a Biden rally. They'd beat you over the head with a brick. All right? But guys, this is sort of the amazing thing. I recently wrote a book, and the purpose of the book was during quarantine. One of the only things that came out of quarantine, again, I couldn't go to work, couldn't go to church, kids couldn't go to school. I wasn't going to loot and riot. It's not really my thing. So I had all this free time when I was stuck at home, forced to be there. And I was stuck with Kimberly. I know, listen, it's not easy. I understand, right? See, that guy's nodding. He's like, that guy's an idiot. That's amazing. And I was stuck with Kimberly, and that was fun for a day or two. And then I said, I got to get back to work. I got to do something. So I started looking at the guy that we are running against. And I couldn't believe how much I found. I mean, think about it. For a living, it's sort of amazing. I'm looking at the opponent that we have, and I said, I can't believe there's an industry called journalism, and they are not interested in looking at any of these things. For example, can you imagine what would happen if Donald Trump Jr., like Hunter Biden, took $1.5 billion from the Chinese government? Do you think that'd be a problem? You know, just so you guys know, in a fund, how that is, right? 2% management fee is pretty typical. That means that the Biden family is taking in $30 million a year, annual, from the Chinese government. You think Joe Biden's going to crack down on China now? By the way, speaking of China, you're from the state of Michigan. Joe Biden has destroyed jobs than probably any politician living or dead in this country. He supported NAFTA. He then lied about it and said George Bush did it, even though he supported it 8 years before George Bush was president. He then reaffirmed that support in 2007. But again, the media won't call him out. It's why I had to write a book, because they refuse to do their jobs. They're not in the business on reporting on Democrats. They're in the business of being Democrat activists. So guys like us, you and me, we have to talk and we have to have this conversation. But between NAFTA, between TPP, between pushing for China's permanent status in the World Trade Organization, Joe Biden has done and decimated American men. Believe that after half a century he's going to change things? Is anyone that stupid? Good, just making sure, because I'm watching it on TV and I'm saying, I can't believe it. It's like last week. Joe Biden, he goes to Pennsylvania. It was the one time he came out of his lair, you know, the basement den. He can't leave it because it's too troubling. He can do an event for about half an hour and then he has to go back and hide and recover for 3 days. This guy's going to do great as president, people. It's going to be great. It's not a very time-consuming job. So Joe comes out of the basement and he goes to the great state of Pennsylvania. And to the people, he had a crowd, but it was like 3 people. It was like if you put like this gangplank, it was 3 people, you know, and they're in the circles, those like ridiculous. You can't make this crap up. I mean, this guy's going to lead America. I mean, how's this guy going to do against Putin? Not so good. Not so good. He's already been carrying China's water for 5 decades, so that's not going to change. But he pushed for China's permanent status in the World Trade Organization. He's going to come to you and say he's going to fix things in Michigan. He destroyed Michigan. The only thing that Joe Biden ever created and the only job he ever made was for people in China. America's only export for the last 50 years has been your American dream. And Joe Biden sent it there, but he's going to do it differently now. But again, so Joe goes to Pennsylvania. He goes to a lovely group of 3 or 4 people and says, I'm not against fracking. Wow. Wow, I'm amazed. It's like point number 1 on your platform, Joe, that you're going to shut down all new fracking. How many people fact-checked him? 0. How many people reported that was false? 0. And that's the difference, guys. That's why this kind of order, that's why we need you guys, because Joe Biden and the radical left is trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Joe Biden is that camouflage, right? Oh, it's Moderate Joe from Scranton. Oh, I could hear that all day long. Come here, brother. USA. I mean, think about it. Imagine that you guys chanting that now, according to the mainstream media, it's controversial. It's the first time in world history where a country isn't supposed to put itself first. He did that. He put America first. That's why he's willing to take on the establishment. It's why he's getting us out of these endless wars that our own generals can't even tell us why we're in. It's why he's taking on the teachers union and pushing for school choice so your kids can get an education. It's why he's bringing back American manufacturing. American steel. American jobs. And the American dream. Guys, it's time for you to start living your American dream again, and that's not going to happen under the radical Democrats. Joe Biden, again, the media wants to say it's Moderate Joe. It's Moderate Joe from Scranton. Well, you're not Moderate Joe with Kamala Harris as your VP. You're not Moderate Joe using Bernie Sanders as platform. You're not Moderate Joe with Beto, hell yeah, I'll take your AR-15 as your guns are. You're not. But then how moderate he is. Just look at his platform, though. He wants to give the American middle class a $4 trillion tax hike. I'm with you on this. I'm with you on this. You know where that money gets to go? It gets to go to free health care for illegals, free education for illegals, free lawyers for the illegals that will come in with open borders. You have the privilege of paying for that. What you don't have the privileges is having that for your own children. You don't get that for free, but you get to pay for it for them. Do you guys have any idea what those policies will do to small businesses, to working class Americans, to the lowest income earners who under Trump have seen real wage growth for the first time in modern history? Decimate. Oh. 4 more years. I got to check with Kimberly. I got to ask her. I was like, how am I doing, baby? She goes, good. It was funny. I got to tell you this. We'll keep it amongst ourselves, okay? So after my father's speech, right? After my father's speech at the RNC 2 weeks ago, we were back at the White House with the family. We're all talking, sort of giving them high fives. And he said, I had to go do a TV hit. So he goes, Don, like, if you're on TV, you just stay calm. You get too aggressive. I'm like, really? It's true story. Remember that commercial from the 80s, like I learned it by watching you? I was like, I learned it by watching you. He goes, yeah, but you got to keep it calm. I go, honestly, Dad, these clowns have spent 4 years calling you an agent of Russia. They've spent 3 years trying to put me in jail. They've attacked our family. They've attacked working class Americans. They've decimated our jobs. I just can't let that go. Usually if you get in a little bit of an argument or a disagreement with my father, it's usually going to be a drag out. He just looks at me and goes, okay, I understand. Go ahead. I was like, that's it? That's it? Right, baby? You like it like that? Thank you, princess. Oh, no, let's worry about 2020 first. But because of you guys, we're going to be able to do this. Because of you guys, we have a president that will actually fight for Americans first. You see the Democrats, they're dead silent about the violence, the looting, and the rioting that's going on around our country. Not one person, not one. At the DNC, they had 1 week. Hundreds of speakers put on, right? Not one person denounced the looting, the violence, and the rioting. This week alone, you have mainstream Twitter people. They're backing up Netflix on this cuties pedophile crap. Are you serious? Guys, just remember, this is not your grandparents' Democrat Party. This party doesn't represent working class Americans anymore. It doesn't even represent decent Americans anymore. This is where they're going, and we need your help to win. All right. So, to help me get this crowd a little bit more warmed up, because I'm known as maybe being a little low energy, I have a good friend of mine that hails from the great state of Michigan. My buddy Bob. Many of you may know him as Kip here, Bobby.
Well, I just want to know one thing. You should probably hit record on your phone right now. Because goddamn fake media don't say this didn't happen. If you believe on the leadership of Donald Trump, if you believe in more leadership of Donald Trump, that you live and will always live and support and stand for the greatest country in the world, make some damn noise.
Bobby, thank you very much. Out there, look at armyfortrump.com. It's not enough just to go vote. It's not enough just to be present. Get your friends, sign up, volunteer. We need you as part of this viral movement. We need you guys, and my father needs you.
Even more so, what you need is everybody here. I'm going to assume that 99% of you are registered to vote. But I got people in this band that haven't voted in a long time. I got friends that haven't voted in a long time. You have coworkers, you have family, you have people you can influence. You need to talk to them religiously and tell them why this is so important. That this year, more than any year, they go out and vote. All right?
Thank you, guys.
Don't mean to sound like I'm yelling at y'all. You want to have some fun?
Thank you, guys.
How about it for Don Jr., Michigan? Come on. Yeah.
All right, everybody. It sounds like Kid Rock is going to start kicking off a concert there at the Make America Great Again rally in Michigan. Y'all know the drill. Due to copyright laws, we cannot be playing the jams here on News Now from Fox. But still, wanted to listen in on Kimberly and Donald Trump Jr. there again in Michigan. You are watching News Now from Fox. My name is Pilar Arias. Happy to be here with you. I'm going to take you out. It looks like we're starting to cover some of the hurricane coverage there on the Gulf, but the live picture I have for you is moving around just a bit. So I'm going to take you back out These are live aerials of the Bobcat fire in Southern California. And we are just moments away from a live report, it appears, in regards to Hurricane Sally. The reporter is getting ready.